Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for another exciting CLIA Marketing Partners webinar to learn how to build show-stopping cruise itineraries and proposals with Travefy. My name is Johanna de Guzman, and I am the Manager of Industry Relations for North American Travel Trade Membership here at CLIA, and I'm going to quickly go through some housekeeping before introducing our presenter. Please feel free to type your questions into the questions module of the webinar, and we will get to them at the conclusion of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and it will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, CLIA Global. It is my pleasure to introduce your presenter, Stephanie Grice. Stephanie is a senior education manager and leads Travefy's education team. When she's not crafting engaging training for Travefy's tools, you can find her connecting with travel advisors and suppliers within the industry to collaborate and bring the best experience possible to Travefy's users. And with that, the floor is yours, Stephanie.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me on here. I forgot, as you were saying, creating engaging webinars. I hope they are. You're going to see what I do all day long, here today in the next hour. So really excited. I know we did a webinar we got to do a webinar with CLIA last month, I believe. Then we have another one next month. So I'll tell you all about it. But this one today, we are going to talk about how to build show-stopping itineraries and proposals with Travefy. So what I'm thinking about doing here today, this is the agenda I had in mind, is one, I do want to quickly show what is Travefy, because many of you on here are, maybe you're familiar, you've heard about Travefy, but you're still like, I don't really know what this is. I'm joining to see how this can help my business. So I want to show you an overview of Travefy, get to know it. But then we're going to focus today on doing a demo and a walkthrough of how to build an actual itinerary or a proposal that is cruise related through Travefy. And then after that, I'll talk about, okay, now how do you get started? How do you start a free trial, test out everything with Travefy, all the next steps that you can need to know after that, and then answer any questions. So feel free, if you do have questions, put those in the chat, and hopefully we do have enough time to answer some of those at the end. But first, what I want to walk through. I always like to start off with what all is Travefy, because a lot of people know Travefy as an itinerary builder, which is where we started, and that's what we're going to be focusing on today. But there's also so much more to Travefy that we've built out the past few years, just alone. And so I'm going to take you through a little bit of a sales like workflow. So think of this as, during when you're doing your sales and you're putting together itineraries and planning trips, where Travefy touches your business in all those spots. So the first one being marketing. Now, what Travefy has is we have a website and landing page builder. Now, I won't be able to talk about this today, but this is one of my favorite tools. And in fact, next month's webinar is going to be all about this. So it's really cool, especially when it comes to cruises. This is a really cool tool because you can use this for either your main website provider if you don't have a website. But even if you do have a website, you can still use this to create one-off landing pages. So think of it as a landing page to promote like a group trip or a cruise, a destination. No matter what it is, it becomes an amazing marketing tool, and it's really simple and easy to use. And the best part is you can create unlimited amount of these pages. So you can create, a landing page for this and that, or it could be your whole website. So there's a lot of opportunity in that, which is really cool. But then the next feature here is we also have a form builder. Now, the form builder is amazing. This has actually become probably the second most popular tool next to those itineraries and proposals, because this allows any Travefy user to create a form to collect any information. So whether it's just new traveler info, you need like their passport info, their date of birth, all that, or maybe it's an e-signature, a waiver, or even a credit card authorization. So we are completely PCI compliant. So what does that mean? That means you're safe and secure. The great thing is that you can safe and securely collect credit card information from your clients using this form builder. It is incredible, and it's so easy to use. And with all of that, once you start getting form responses in, you need a way to organize it, so you can go back and say, what did this traveler, what was their dietary restriction? What was their credit card information? And that's where you'll find it in our CRM. Now, our CRM, this area is, we call it contacts. So if you have a Travefy account, it's called contacts at the top. But this is where all your client contact information is going to live, and including it's going to have any forms they filled out, any trips or like itineraries, proposals you shared. It'll all sync in that one place. So it's amazing for the organization. And there's also just so much more that I'm not even touching on, that there's so much that you can do in there, which is really cool. And then finally, this is where, again, where you probably know and love what Travefy has created, this itinerary and proposal builder. Now, this is actually where we're spending our time today. So we're going back to the biggest tool in Travefy, which does allow you, create these beautiful itineraries. They're branded in your brand for your clients. And then your clients also have an option to view it on the web, a PDF if they want to print it out. And then there's also the mobile app, which we'll talk about. And then I'm also going to discuss a little bit of the difference with like what's a proposal versus an itinerary. They're very similar, but there is a little bit of a difference. So I'll show you what makes them special in each way. So that's kind of the overview. Now, one thing I want to mention, all of these tools are part of one account. So in Travefy, it's not like you're buying one part, you're buying all of it. So I'll go through subscriptions, pricing and stuff at the end. But when you have a Travefy account, all of this is yours. Just so cool. I mean, pretty big, pretty cool thing there. But now again, we do want to focus today on those proposals and itineraries. So a couple things to highlight before I actually dive into Travefy and do a whole demo with you is there's a lot of things that make our itinerary and proposal builder so powerful. One of them is all the integrations we have. So you're going to see this in play today, but we have over hundreds of suppliers integrated into Travefy, including 80 plus cruise lines, which exciting. I love showing cruise stuff in here because it's so easy. So we have all that data already stored in there. We also have destination content that you can pull right in, which you're going to see here shortly too. We also offer live flight alerts. So when you add flight information into an itinerary, you and your client will actually get notified when there's flight changes, which is huge, really cool there. We also have the ability where you can import, photos, videos, whether it's your own, or we also have databases that you can just quickly pull from. So you don't have to go searching all over. You can also stay in Travefy and use all the different thousands of photos we have. But just know you can also add your own. And then another thing is we also have hotel content as well. So you're going to see this, everything here, you're actually going to see in motion, which is really cool. So these are just some of the highlights, that you can do in there. But now one last thing that I want to mention, and I'll say this again at the end. There's going to be quite a bit I go through. Like it's going to, we try not to overwhelm you, but I also want to show you everything. So just know that as I'm going through things and you're like, wait a minute, how did you do that again? Or how would I do it for this trip? Or how would I do it for this client? Just know that we have an amazing support team ready to go at your fingertips. Now, our support team, we view it as a feature. We say, this is just as important as every other feature in Travefy is that you can get help. So we do have live chat in your account that you can just chat, real person. It's not AI, it's a real person in there. And then we have email support, but we also do one-on-one trainings. So we can do one-on-one. So right now it's a webinar, but we can get one-on-one. It's really cool. We offer that. It's free, unlimited. And then we also have a ton of on-demand resources. So keep all that in mind as I'm going through today and you're like, I need more. We got it for you. So really cool there. But with that being said, let me take a little sip of water and we're going to dive into the good stuff here. Now, what we're going to do today, I am going to build a full itinerary with you. We're going to pretend that we have a client going to the Caribbean on a cruise, and we're going to put together their entire trip in here. Now, when you first log in your account, this is what you'll see. You'll see the trips you're working on, all of that good stuff in here. Now, your profile, this is going to live in the top right-hand corner. And if you click profile, but when you first sign up, we actually make you fill this out. And this is really important to fill out because this is where that branding comes from. So when you send an itinerary or a proposal to a client, they see your logo, your contact info because of what's in this profile. So really important to fill that out there, but you only fill it out once, and then it's saved in there. And then when you want to create a new itinerary or a proposal, what you're going to do is you're going to choose the new trip button in the top left-hand corner. From here, decide, is it an itinerary or a proposal? Now, here's when to take a quick pause because I want to explain the difference. Now, I'm going to build an itinerary with you, but if you were building this as a proposal, or if you like to call it like a quote, what the difference is that it's going to allow your client to actually approve it. Where it's an itinerary, it allows the client to say, do you want the app? Do you want to download a PDF of this? So it's more of a finalized version. Now, the one thing why I never really stress a lot on this when you're choosing, because if you choose itinerary and you meant to do proposal or vice versa, you can always switch it back. Under type here, you can see where it says proposal. So now that this is a proposal, see how it says approve at the top? That's what that's going to do. That's really the difference. The difference is with that proposal, but now if it's an itinerary, if you quickly see, they have the option to view the app or the PDF. That's the big difference. Now, again, I am going to build this as an itinerary today, but I know there'll probably be questions on proposals. So I am happy to go back and show like, how do you do this and do that? So we can kind of talk a little bit more about that. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and edit this. So I'm going to click edit. And now we have a fresh new itinerary just waiting to get built. So first things first, here's what I always tell people to do. We just want to get this set up with the basic info, like a title, what's the start date, all that good stuff. So I'm going to change that information by just clicking in the settings. So if you click in the settings here, we can go ahead and let's give this a name. We'll say Jones Family Cruise. You can go ahead, select that date. Now I am gonna have this trip start on the 4th of January. Now you can see this is where you could put like pricing in or a description. So you can add that in here if you wanted. But in this case, I'm just gonna leave it blank. But if you did add pricing or description, it appears at the top of this itinerary. So that's where it displays at. But for this case, I'll just say save changes. And now we have our date in here. Now, one last thing I want to do before I move further is change this photo. This photo is like clouds and stuff like that. That is not a cruise and not very exciting. So let's change that. So you can change that cover photo by clicking change cover photo here. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier, where I was talking about the photos and videos that you can include. Now, Travefy has thousands of free stock photos, and I love this because it's stock photos, so you're not going to get in trouble for using them. So you can do things like if you want to type like Caribbean, Cancun, beach, ocean, whatever. Now, you can't get specific to like Royal Caribbean, but you can just get like generic terms, or locations, destinations. But it's really great because all these photos are actually really high quality. So any screen size they appear on, they're gonna fit and they're gonna look really good. So that's really great. Now, if you wanted, you can also upload your own photo. So sometimes people like to put their own. Some users have gotten really creative where they'll go on like Canva and they'll put like the person's name and a picture of them. So there's some fun stuff you could do in there. But otherwise, just take one of our stock photos and it'll look really good. So now that we have this trip starting to get set up here, now I want to take you through the bulk of what we're doing today is actually adding information. I want to show you all the different ways that you can add info, just to show you what Travefy is capable of, a lot of different things. So the first thing that we might be adding here is probably a flight. Maybe we have this pre-cruise info. So you can see that I'm on Saturday. Now, if you had to start on another day, just click new day and you can go into that day and start adding info. But otherwise, you're just gonna make sure you're in the day that you wanna include information on. And then what you're gonna do next, you're gonna come right here where it says new event. This button right here, this is gonna be like the most important thing to learn today, is this new event button. Now you're gonna be able to select what is it that you're trying to add. Now, remember how I said we have databases? We work with so many different suppliers, integrations. So they're all in here, but first we need you to tell us what you're trying to add so we can tell, like, be like, okay, we'll give them this database. So that's kind of how that works. So you can say new event, choose what you want to add, which in this case, let's do a flight first. So now I have the option to add a flight. Now I can use Travefy's database, which I'm going to do. It's really easy, very quick. I love it. You also though, could send a booking confirmation email in. So you do have that option. You can forward that in. Or if you do use a GDS system, you can also pull in, the flight itineraries there. But otherwise, honestly, this is my favorite. I love just putting, okay, what is the airline and the flight number? And let's see, flight number is 528 info. You can see there's the flight and add it. Now, how it's finding this, it's finding it because it's attached to this date and it knows that particular flight is happening. So again, in our database, we're tracking this. So now that you can see this pulled in, you can see now that you can get, the terminal, all that info. As it gets closer, it will start updating with like the gate. So all of that stuff does start to update in here. And if you need to add any additional info, all you have to do is click the pencil icon and come in to edit this event. So this is where you can start adding like confirmations, or if you need to, add any notes, or if it's pricing, it's still a proposal. That's where you can do all that. So you can completely customize this. But the best part about flights is the flight updates. Now you can see there's that little green check mark. It's probably really small on your screen, but there's a green check mark there, which means we are tracking this flight. So if this flight gets delayed, the gate changes, anything that happens, we notify you and your clients. I cannot tell you how many stories we hear where this absolutely saves the day for advisors, because a lot of times we might see the change reflected in Travefy before the airline tells your client. And so that happens all the time. So even for me, I've had this happen multiple times where I'm at the airport, I get a notification on my Travefy app and it tells me the gate changed. I go to the gate, no one's there yet, and I'm like, is this? And then they tell you. So I just got the perks of getting there first. It's incredible. Again, a lot of really great success stories in that. So it's really cool having that feature in there. It's pretty game changing. But now moving along, a couple other things I want to add in here is another one is hotels. So if you're ever adding hotels, resorts, we also have a database for that. So to do that, all you're going to do is click the new event button again. Because again, remember, you go there first and then you choose lodging. From here, we can go ahead and look up the hotel because Travefy's database. So you can see, I'm going to start looking up the W Hotel in Miami, and you can see it start to appear here. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. Now I can give it a checkout date, which is going to be the 6th, and add it. Now, what happens is I get this information automatically added, and you can see it says information, and then that checkout date's added as well. And this is all just coming from our database. Now, again, if you want to edit this, because a lot of times, especially if this is like a quote or proposal, you might want to remove some of this or keep it, or you add like different pricing options, rooms, things like that. You can come in here and manually do that. But I think it's just really handy because look at how quick and easy that was just for me to bring in. And then the other thing I want to note is if you are with like travel leaders and you select hotels or Virtuoso, we do have integrations to their hotel and property content. So if you are affiliated with them, you can actually turn it on in your account settings to see like Virtuoso content or travel leaders. So keep that in mind. We have FAQs on how that works too, but it's really cool. There's a lot of information in there, which is nice. It pulls in your photos and all that good stuff really easily, as you can see. So you can see now how I'm adding stuff very quickly. One thing I do want to quickly show you is what if you wanted to add like private transfer? Now, we don't have any integrations with like an actual transfer company, unless it's associated with like a larger booking that we can support. But what you would likely be doing is you would just add it manually, but it's really easy. So you can do that just by, again, clicking this new event button, choose ground transport, and then from here, just type in this information. So let's say I'm going to say this is a private transfer from airport to hotel. And then I can also say like meet driver at baggage claim, any notes. I also can put like the driver contact. So you can put, if you add you can add links in here, and you can put, I think it's call 555, and then you can put their number in here, and then watch what this does. Can insert that. Now, if they're viewing this on their mobile device or on their like app, and they click that, it'll start calling. It can call that person. So nice, so cool there, that you can do that. Another thing that I want to highlight is you can also attach documents anywhere within this itinerary. So if you ever have documents like a voucher of this or the confirmation, you can attach them in this event so that way it stays with this area. You can also include like photos. So if you had a photo of like the driver, the car, you could put that in here as well. So there's quite a bit you can do, but you can also just leave it completely blank as well, or like pretty simple like I did. Now, one thing that I'm going to talk about here again in a little bit, but we do have what's called the library, and that's where you can save information to reuse again and again. So as you see, I just manually created like this private transfer, but this, event could easily be used on another trip. So what I can do is I can always choose to save this. So I can just say save to library. And now when I'm building a new itinerary or proposal, I can come over here on the right-hand side. This is my library. And I can look this up and I can just pull it right in. We're going to talk more about it. So don't let it be like, wait, how does that work? It's really cool. That's one of the game changing things. So remember the library. We're going to come back to that. That's really incredible. But as you can see, we just added here. I'm going to move this up to the top here, right in between. You can see now we just added, the flights, manually added a transfer, and then added the hotel. So now the fun part. Let's talk about the cruise part. So this is my all-time, one of my favorite features in Travefy. If you had to make me choose, this is definitely one of the top fives, is adding cruise content in here. Now, we have a cruise database built into Travefy. Now, what that means is that you can actually just look up any major ocean, river, cruise line and pull the whole itinerary in without like a booking number, reservation number, anything. Now, let me show you how this works. First things first, you want to make sure you're on the day that it departs, because like how I added these flights, we do need to see the date because that's how our system's knowing which cruise you're looking for. So I'm going to go start on Jan 6th. And now again, I'm going to come over to the new event and I'm going to choose cruise. This is where the magic happens. Look at this drop down menu of, again, all the major ocean, river, cruise lines in here. And I'm actually going to pull in a Royal Caribbean one. And then you can see all the cruise ships, and this one's Independence of the Seas. And see how it just pulled up the Western Caribbean in perfect day, 5 days. So I know that's the one I want. So I'm going to say get itinerary. And you will see, okay, like just look it over because we do want you to make sure this is right before we add it all. And then now you can click add to itinerary. And boom, look at this. It adds all of this content and see how it just built out the days for me. So it says when it's departing, arriving, if it's at sea, and it's telling you about it. And now all of this information comes immediately in here for you with a click of a button. So you're getting like deck plans, all of that good stuff. So you get that all right away. Now, of course, if you wanted to edit this, just again, come in, you can completely edit it, whatever you want. Maybe you have your own videos, your own photos, or maybe you're putting like, different, if this was like a proposal or a quote and you're putting different room options, cabin options, you can do all of that in here. One tip really quick since I'm in here is if you do use this to put, like if it's a group trip or you're trying to put different cabin options to choose from and you need to organize it, you can actually add tables in here. So if you click at the top, there's formatting options within the notes. And then you can actually add tables. So this is where you could put like option number 1 and then the price and things like that. So that's really handy. That's a handy tool right there. And again, that's just within the formatting options of the notes section here. But again, if you want to remove this, you can, or edit anything in there. It's really cool. So amazing, amazing stuff in there. But now I want to talk to you about, okay, we pulled that from Travefy, but like, what if you want to spice this up a little bit? You want to add some more stuff. So a couple things you can do, like if you want to add maybe some, more room options, you want to add ship info, whatever it might be, you could put it all in here, like you could add it in there. Or a lot of times what some users will do is they'll actually create new events that just are specialized for like, these are your room options, or here's about the ship, just to kind of keep it more organized. So let me show you one example here. Now this is, again, you don't have to do this, but this is just kind of going a little above and beyond. But let's say that I wanted to put in some information about the ship, because the clients are getting, the itinerary, but they're not really getting much about the ship outside the deck plans. So what I could do is I could just manually create some content by clicking new event, and I'm going to choose cruise again. So I'm going to choose cruise. Now, I'm not looking it up. I'm just going to add something manually. So see this option down below? I can say add cruise manually. So now what has happened is I basically am just getting a blank canvas of an event. So that way I can add my own stuff, but it has like the cruise logo or icon in there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say in the title, meet your ship, Royal Caribbean's Independence of the Seas. Now I'm going to copy and paste something that I pulled from Royal Caribbean's website. So this right here, I pulled this from their website. I just copied and pasted it. So that's what's really great. I mean, you could totally do that. Or a lot of times, sometimes users might have their own stuff. They're like, if you go on this ship, these are my top favorite things to do. You might have stuff like that. And then another thing you can do is you can add photos and videos. So to do that, you can do that by coming into this event like I am. Within the multimedia section, click here. Now, again, you'll see here are those stock photos that we could use, or you can upload your own. So if you do have your own photos, put those in there. But something else really cool, you can actually pull from a website. So I just dropped in the link for the Royal Caribbean for this cruise ship, and I'm going to let it Travefy go out and try to find some images. And that way I can just add them, pull them in. So you'll see here, see how it's found some images in here? Now what I can do is I could just like choose some of these. I could say, okay, I want, some of these photos. We could leave it at, let's just add, let's see here. Let's have like one more. We'll just bet this one. You can see I can add just these photos in here. But I left space because I want to show you one more thing. Instead of just adding all photos, I actually also want to add a video. And you can pull a video from either like Vimeo or YouTube. Now, this video that I'm adding is actually from Royal Caribbean. So you could go, in their thing, or maybe like the tourism board for the destinations. Or if you have your own videos, you could link those in there just like I did. And then check this out. So I'm just going to rearrange this so it shows at the top. Now, right here, this Meet Your Ship is going to have a video. It has links to some resources, and it has photos. And again, some of these photos are already given to you from Travefy, so they come in pretty easily. But it's cool though that you can do that. I mean, this is really what's elevating this and really making them show stopping, as we said. And this is the kind of stuff that your clients are going to be like, what? Like, this is amazing. I have all this information at my fingertips. Like, this is cool. So really great stuff. But a couple things I want to talk about. You saw how I added this, that I manually added it. And you're like, okay, manually adding everything's going to take some time. I have some tips for you. So one, if you ever decide to add your own content like I did, of course, what you can do is once again, add that to your library. So save this into your library. So that way I can save it in there. And then when I'm building a new trip in the future with this exact one, I can come over here and I can just look up, type in like Independence of the Seas and see how it appears, and I can just add it in. So that's one way. That is one thing I've seen users do. They'll just fill up their library with content like this just because it makes it easy, especially when doing like quoting and proposals, to just pull in this information. So that's one way. Now, the second way, this is what might blow your mind a little bit, but I'm going to go back to my slides because we've recently added something. And I think this is very cool for cruising specifically. We've created what's called Marketplace. Now, what Marketplace is it is allowing Travefy users to share content with other users. So I'm adding stuff to my library. Now, when I add something to my library, I could decide if I wanted to share that with a person individually, or I can say, hey, no, share this to Marketplace so any Travefy user can find this and use it. So in there, you're going to find things like sample itineraries, hotels and resorts, cruise content, which we'll talk about, destination guides, forms, workflows. I mean, so many things. There's a lot in there. And when you're doing cruising, I really recommend checking out Marketplace and save some content to your library that you might use. So, how this works, let me just show you really quick. I'm going to take a step out of this itinerary and I'm going to go back to my main account page here. And up at the top, you'll see where it says Marketplace. If you click on that, this is Marketplace. So if you have Travefy, you have access to this, and all of this content is completely free. So in here, you can now start to look up things. You can see we literally have its own like cruises. Like somebody had just added this, like get to know the ship. So this is like what I was doing, and a user actually made this. You can also see like when people they'll create all of this content. If there's anyone on here that might be on this webinar and you see your content, thank you. So here's where it is. And now you could say like, okay, let me go look specifically. Maybe I want like Disney cruise. So I'm just going to look up Disney cruise, search it, and you can filter down. So if you're looking for like forms maybe or specific things, but look at this, this Disney cruise ship information. This was actually built by, it was me. This one was actually me. We do build some of our own sometimes because we'll hear users wanting specific things and I'm like, I'll make that for you. So that's where sometimes it's good. And you'll see also like when it was last updated and all of that good stuff. But you can see in here, you can go ahead and view it before you decide like this is what I want to save. You can see all of this in here. And then I can go ahead and just click copy to library if I want it. And then now that it's in my library, I can now go back into my trip that I'm building. So let's go back into edit. And now when I'm in here, let's say I did want that cruise content. So I can say like Disney cruise. Look at let me just search this. Look at all this. This is what it was. So this content is what I added. So now if I had the Disney dream, I could just drag and drop this right over and use it. Boom. So simple. So I highly recommend, as if you have questions about Marketplace, I'm happy to go back because it is so cool, and especially for cruises. Our users are so helpful when it comes to cruises, especially. They're so willing to share things. So things like I just made, how I made the meet your ship, I put that in Marketplace. That's actually in there. So you could go find that too. So that's what's really cool. So help save you time, which is awesome. Okay, but now a couple more things I want to add here together, and then we'll wrap up this itinerary. Is one more thing that's really great is we also have that destination content that I spoke about earlier, and we have in Travefy, we call them city guides, destination guides, and there's thousands of different destinations worldwide covered, and it allows you to just get information and pull it right in. So let me show you what I mean here. I'm going to go back into this day because see how my client arrived in Miami, but they technically have an open day. So I didn't book anything for them. So I can say like, hey, let me just give you some things that you could do. So what I do to access the destination guides in Travefy is come over to your right side where the library is living. And then you're going to click on city guides. So click city guides. Now, from here, type in the name of the city you're looking for or destination. You can even look up like Italy. But I'm going to type in Miami specifically. Now you can see I have a couple options because we do use two different providers. We use a provider called Trip Report and Arrival Guides, just to give you more options, basically is why we do that. But you can see, I'm just going to use this arrival guides one. And now you can see I can drag and drop this entire guide over. But you don't have to use the entire thing. So if this is too much, or you're like, oh, my clients don't really need certain things, you can also pick and choose sections. But look at everything this adds. It adds like the city, things to do and see, like restaurants, dining, cafes. And again, if you're like, my clients, they're not really into bars and nightlife, like I can either edit this on my own or I can just completely delete it. Let's just say delete that. But again, you can customize this too. But I just think this is really helpful, especially if they're traveling, let's say like to Cozumel, and maybe they don't have any tours booked for this, but you still want to provide some information. So you can just say, like let's just add Cozumel. And let's just say, let's add info about the island so you can see, so they can get a little feel for what the island's about. And then maybe that they really love checking out cafes. So we're just gonna drag in the cafe too. And we're just gonna leave it at that. Now, again, you could add more, you could also add your own, all of that good stuff in there, you can include. But just showing you, it's really cool how easy that is, as you can see that I just did. And it adds so much for your client, especially when doing those quotes and proposals. It's really cool too. Now, another thing I want to touch on is if you are adding like tours and excursions. Right now, we don't work directly with the cruise lines to get that info. We do work with some suppliers. So we do have a lot of different suppliers, like hundreds of suppliers in our system, that you can pull from that, if you do have bookings. But otherwise, if you did book, you have like at Coco K, you have some tour for them, you can always just add it manually, just say new event and tour and just add the information. You can also, if you have like a voucher or something, a document, just upload that in there. So pretty easy to do. Same thing if you're dealing with, you have your client's got like insurance, or you also want to add additional information, like here's emergency contact, or here's like some tips for your cruise. What I recommend when adding that type of info is don't place it in a day. Instead, there's this area that's information and documents. This is a great section that you can choose to use. And you can even change the title of this to say like insurance information. And then you can come in here and you can just say add new information. You can drop in like the PDF of their insurance, or like insurance info, or whatever you need to put in here. Put that in there. You also can add multiple sections. So if you wanted to add another section that's like know before you go, or like a packing list, whatever it might be, you can do that just by clicking those three dots on the left of New Day, say new info section, and then you can change this to say, let's just say like the packing list, or before you go and packing list. Let's just say like before you go info and packing list. And then you could fill this up and put all that stuff in there. You can also drag and drop these around. So if I wanted insurance to actually appear at the bottom, just drag and drop it to the bottom. So that way you have that in there. So this is really helpful, especially a lot of users like to say, like, make sure you check in 24 hours. That's kind of where that really helps to have that section that starts it. And you can put info in there that's separated away from a date. So that's one thing that's really, really handy. And let me just add something in here, text here, just so you can see this. But that is really what I wanted to show when building a trip. But now I really want you to see what this looks like, because at the end of the day, that's the important thing, is you're impressing your clients, you're looking professional, and this is also helping you stay organized, and it just, again, makes you look really good. So when you're ready to send this to a client, all you're going to do is come up here to the top right hand corner and click send. Now you have some options. You could just get a link and send a link to them. You can email it. But if I just want to preview what this looks like, so you can see here, this is what my client will see. So whether they're on an iPad, a tablet, a computer screen, a massive computer screen, whatever it is, it's going to be scaled to fit. So you can see here, and they'll be able to jump around so they can like view things. They can quickly expand things. One thing that's really cool is, remember how I added that video? Let's go down to that. Watch this. This video actually stays in this screen, so you can just see it. So it's not taking them out. It's so cool. And you can see there's that insurance information at the bottom. So amazing, very easy for them to view. Now, remember, if this was a proposal, it will look very similar. It's just at the top, it says approve it. But since this is an itinerary, we're now going to give them the option to say, hey, do you want to download a PDF? You can do that from here. You also have an option if you want to get the PDF for them and you like to print it out and find it, whatever you like to do. You can also do that on your end in that builder. But you also can just send it. Let me go back here and click send and then email it. And just go ahead, type in their email. You can put a custom message in here if you want. And then they're going to get an email and it'll look like it comes from you. So if they do reply back to it, it goes to you. But they'll be able to get a link to view their trip, which brings them here. So they're always going to be brought back here. Now, the next part that takes this to another level is that app. So they can get a mobile app to view this trip on the go. And they can do that just by clicking the app button at the top, and we'll take them to the App Store or the Google Play Store to download what's called Trip Plans. Now, the Trip Plans app, here it is. This is what it looks like. The app is unbranded. So notice how it's not called Travefy, it's called Trip Plans. And we do that because we don't want our brand, we want yours. So yours brand is the one that appears here. You can see here how it appears. And then what's great about this is they'll be able to, of course, view all of their itineraries, any documents, click and expand photos, videos, all of that stuff in here. They get those updates like the flights that I was telling you about. So that flight updates. Again, they can access all those documents. And one thing I'll mention about this that's really great is they can turn off. See, there's this little toggle like right here in the middle. If I zoom in, it says available offline. If they toggle that on, that means we're going to save everything. So when they aren't connected to internet or Wi-Fi, they still can access everything. This has come in so much handy. I cannot tell you. Like if you fly to a foreign country, you don't have access to anything, but you need to pull up your voucher to like know where's my transfer, who are they? You can open it up. And so that's the really nice thing that's cool about that. But another really great thing is this is also you can chat with your clients through this. So you can actually stay connected with your client in here. This is going to give you that white glove service for your client where you can stay connected directly in that app. It's so handy because, if they're like, hey, I know we said we weren't going to book a tour, but I kind of want to now, you could, add it in and then chat them, say, it's in there now, like just refresh your trip. So cool. So a lot you can do with that. Now, one final thing I'll mention is with the mobile app, again, trip plans for your clients to use, but we have an app for you to use. So the app that you download is called Travefy Pro. So you'll want to make sure you have this app on your phone because this app is going to have give you quick access to all of your clients' trips. But then it's also going to, if your client chats you and it can go in there and all that good stuff. So definitely get that if you are a user and you don't have that yet. Download Travefy Pro app in there. But otherwise, again, your client uses this Trip Plans app. So that is some of the cool stuff. Now, to wrap this up, I do just want to say a couple more things because I know that was a lot. So I don't want to throw a whole lot back at you, but I do want to say a couple things. And then we can definitely answer some questions too. But a couple things that are really handy when it comes to building these itineraries and proposals for cruises is one, you can always copy whole entire itineraries or proposals. So if you build a cruise itinerary for somebody and you're likely to reuse that, you can always copy it. You always have the option to copy and build a whole brand new one, and you can work off of that. It's also great if you do group trips. If you do group trips, you do have the ability, you can either copy it and create itineraries for different people. But we also do support the ability to tag people in one itinerary. So if you do have a group trip, you can actually add you can add all the travelers to this trip, and then you can tag them in the events that they're part of. So for example, if some people were on this flight but not everyone, you could come into this flight and you can actually tag only specific people. So that way, when you tag them, you can send the itinerary link with one link to everybody, but we'll automatically know who's viewing it. So we'll show them their customized version of it. So there's questions. We have FAQs and videos on that, but that's something that's really great. And then one final thing is we also do have tasks and automations available. Now, this could be its own whole webinar. So I don't want to get too in the weeds, but one thing you can do is how I was mentioning, like, sending the itinerary to them or sending chat messages. You can automate stuff like that. So if you ever like, you're like, a day before their trip, I need to send them a reminder to check in. Automate it. You can do that in Travefy. Same thing if like you want to say a couple days into their trip, I want to say like hope it's going good. You can do that. You can automate it. So we have a whole entire. We actually just did a webinar on this a couple weeks ago in our. It's at our YouTube channel, and you can check that out. But that's to take it to the next level. I would recommend. So if you are already building trips in Travefy, I would start looking at the automations just to take it a step further. It's really powerful stuff. So it's really cool. But a couple things that I want to share here is also what's coming. We have a lot coming. I'm not like really a lot. You're going to be hearing a lot from us probably if you follow us that we have a lot of stuff that will be coming down before the year wraps up and into the new year. One of them is going to be a big one for all of you, updated cruise content. I've been able to get sneak peeks at this and it's pretty cool. So basically what this is it's going to give you access to more cruise content. So like you saw what I did, I got access to the whole entire itinerary, but we're going to give you access to even more where you can select certain things, you can choose to add some stuff. That's going to be huge. When that does come out, we will definitely be putting it on our social media, emails, all that good stuff. So watch for that. That'll be big. We're also going to be releasing some client decision option tools. So as you can see, like with the proposal, this is going to be big for you all too, is when you give them different cruise options, we're going to make it easier for you to present those different options and have them choose it. That will be coming. We also have some new integrations coming. And then also a lot of trip management. That's going to be a big thing that you'll see really soon here, is that some things in Travefy are going to start looking a little different, just letting you know. It's all really good. It's not too crazy different, but it's all going to help you just kind of streamline your process of trip planning, building itineraries, all that good stuff. So there's a lot coming. So stay tuned for all of that. Now, you can start a free trial at travefy.com if you aren't already a user. The trial is 10 days. If you need more time, it's okay. Just let our team know. But what's really great is we actually have a discount for you all. So we offer subscription based pricing. Now, again, if you remember at the very beginning, I said, and everything in Travefy is part of your subscription. So you don't pay for anything extra. So you can literally get everything I did, but then a ton of stuff more for $30 a month. It's actually a little under 30 a month. If you use the discount CLIA 15 annual US. Now, we're going to email all of you and we'll let you know about this deal. So that way, but feel free to take a screenshot, grab that now. But what's really great is you will be able to, sign up, try it out. I recommend do a demo with our team one-on-one, let them know what you're trying to do and ask questions, all of that good stuff. But we also do offer if going annual is not the answer yet, then you can also do monthly or quarterly. So we do offer options. So if you want to start monthly, it's just $49 a month, and then you can always change to annual if you want as well. So you can do whatever you want, but a lot of flexibility there, which is great. So with that, I want to say, what are the Q&A? And actually, as Q&A is coming, I do want to mention too, on November 7th, we're going to have another webinar hosted through CLIA like this one today, and we're going to be talking about marketing your cruise trips, and that's where the pages and website builder that I was talking about is going to come into play. You should meet me there because I will be hosting that. So it is going to be a really good time. So definitely join us there for that one. But okay, that was a lot, I know. So what questions can I help answer here?
Hey, Stephanie, it's Johanna here. I do just want to say thank you for a great webinar. And yes, we are having another webinar, another marketing partners webinar with Travefy. So please go ahead and go register. It's on the CLIA website, so it's ready to go. And hopefully you will be able to join Stephanie again for another one. But we do
Yeah.
have a bunch of questions here. So that means you are sharing very valuable information and they want more. But just to get us started here, I know that you spoke about, obviously, you're showing us the desktop app on their computer, and you spoke about these mobile app. So one of our attendees is asking, are you able to kind of start and stop on both? Can I start on my computer and then if I have to leave, I can go hop on the app and everything will be there?
That's a good question. Yeah, so everything in the app, it all updates in real time. So everything updates. So that's what you might have noticed. Like as I was in here, I never like had to click save or it's just all updates. So if you go into the app, you will be able to see all that. Now, I do want to preface though that in the app, currently you can't edit the trip within the app, but you can edit in your web browser. So what you can do is in the app there's an option when you open one of these itineraries in there or proposal, you'll actually see an option to say edit on Safari or Google or whatever your web browser is on your phone. So you could do that, so you can edit on the go. And yeah, and it will save like back and forth in there too.
Great, that's super helpful because I'm sure a lot of our attendees are on the move and just doing a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff. And let's see here. So you talked about how it is real time, and so a few of our attendees are asking if, since they are new to Travefy, right, and they're getting their bearings within the computer database, if they completely mess up or want to start over, are you able to delete and just restart? Can you piecemeal it together? What exactly is the process for editing that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that happens a lot because especially when you're new and you're just kind of playing around in there. A couple things that you can do. So one, you can always completely delete like a trip in here. So if you need to, you can always click on the itinerary proposal and then just click archive. So you'll click archive and then you have the option to delete it. But we do have an archive folder. So like if something, you're trying to keep this space clean, you can like not completely delete something, but at least get it out of your view. You can do that. Another thing you can do is you can delete multiple things all at once. Now, this is a pro tip. So I'm glad this question was asked because something that's really cool is we have an option where you can collapse everything. So this is how you do it. So when you get into the builder, you can see right next to the new event, there's a collapse that will collapse this down. And then what this will do is it allows you to check things or days and you can delete them. So you can do many things. You can delete them. You could save them to your library. So if you did say you're like, oh man, I made 2 days that are amazing, but I don't want everything else, you could either just quickly delete those days, or you could say, save those days to my library, start completely fresh with a brand new itinerary, and then pull in those days from your library. So there's kind of a lot of different ways that you can do that, but the good thing is yeah, you easily can start completely fresh when you need to, which totally get.
Great. And you give us two options to edit and save and delete. So great flexibility there. Another question we had here from one of our attendees is regarding groups. So um, a lot of our agents, they sell cruises in big groups, right? And
Yeah.
so a few people are wondering, is there any way within Travefy that they are able to kind of keep certain information private for certain individuals, or does everything go out to everyone?
Yes. Okay, I'm really glad. I'm going to give you kind of a long answer on this because we are releasing the stuff I was telling you about, the new like trip view, like we're making it easier. When that's released, I will be giving you a completely different answer that's very easy, because you will actually be able to like group different itineraries in one place. So then that way you can still build things, and then you'll have the option to have like add your notes about that trip. That is going to be incredible. So that's coming like within the month. So that's one thing. I can't show it to you yet, but know that it's coming. A couple things though that you could do. So one, you always can add internal notes in your contacts. So like if you go into the contact profile for a person, so let's just say, oops, I clicked on pages. Let's say we want contacts. I can like click into this person and I can add notes in here. And this is just seen by you. So the client doesn't see this at all. You could do that. Another option that you can do is in here. So if you are doing like group trips, remember how I talked about like tagging? So you could actually tag just yourself on specific things, but I'm gonna show you how to do this. But once the new look rolls out that I'm talking about, you won't have to do this anymore. So if today you're going to do this, this is what you would do. You can go into more and you can add people, And let's just say you can upload like everybody at once. Like if you want to add a bulk spreadsheet, you could. But I'm just going to add somebody just to show you an example here. Let's add like Jane Doe here. And then you'll add all the people, and then you can come in and you can edit, or you can say like this is only for this person. So that's what that tagging would look like. But now if you wanted to have like your own private information or something on here, you could create an event and just say internal notes or something, and then just tag yourself. So you just tag you, and then that way only you see that. So whoever else is viewing this trip actually doesn't see it. So that's a workaround that you can do. But again, coming soon, you won't even need to do that workaround. It'll be very easy to add those. And another thing that I'll answer with that question is when you do really large group trips, sometimes there's a few different ways you can handle group trips within Travefy. One is you could literally just have one itinerary where you're tagging people in all of them. But if you have over, I would say like 30 people or so, that gets pretty intense. So one thing that I would recommend doing is do a little mix of copying the trip. So build like a primary template of like here's all the information that everybody would have, and then copy it, and then just build out like like 20 people are going to be on this itinerary, and then you can tag them in there. All of that. And if that doesn't make sense, one thing I would recommend, go check out our support center. I'm going to drop this in the chat in here. So in here, if you like, you'll be able to see everything in here. But I believe there's actually, if you go to our getting started guide, there's a really short video about groups. I would look at this. But then also, if you go to our YouTube page, so if you go back down, you scroll a little further down, click more videos. And there's some videos that we've done pretty recently on group trips that really walk you through that. And cruises is a perfect example of doing all those. And I will say also, if for those of you who do a lot of group trips with cruises, for sure should try to join us in our webinar, because that is going to really help market those group trips and keep things organized. And we'll walk through how on that next webinar, which will be really exciting.
Oh, you're sharing secrets that aren't out yet. So I'm glad that about the workaround. I know. So you said 1 month, right? That we'll have that.
Maybe even less. We'll see. We're actually putting it out. So if anybody on here is one of our beta testers, we have a beta testing group, and they start getting early access, you're gonna get it sooner. So there could be some people in there. So very soon. I'll leave you at that. Very exciting.
And we do have a few minutes here, so I want to get to just some questions here regarding the membership. I will tell you that a lot of our attendees are saying, I'm going to sign up. How much is this? So, Steph, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So a few questions just about that. They are asking if they do choose this $30 a month annually, does this have a cancellation fee?
No cancellation fee. But I will say if you subscribe annually, you're locked in annually, so you're prepaying like the year up front. Or if you're not sure and you do want to like you're not ready to commit for the whole entire year, you can go monthly, and then you just cancel at any point, and then it'll just it just won't allow, or it'll stop the next month. So you'll have, so if I were to start today and I cancel halfway through, which I would never, but if you
Hmm.
did, it would just cancel like November 3rd.
Okay.
So that's how that works.
Okay. And so just to be clear, it is not prorated. So if they start in the middle of the month, it's not like they're paying for half of that. They get the whole month, right?
Correct, yeah. So same with the year. If you started right now, it would just be October 3rd next year.
Perfect. And we do have some Canadian attendees, so they're asking if this is in USD.
It is. It's USD. I'm sorry, Canadian friends. I always forget to put that USD, but yes, it is in USD right in here.
All right, great. And then just to wrap up here, I think a big thing for our attendees is privacy throughout here. So if they're inputting their client's information, they just want to make sure that Travefy has it all set, and I'm sure you do.
Oh yeah, yep. And in fact, even to take it a step further, we're PCI compliant also, which is we have to be PCI compliant because we do the credit card authorizations, the e-signatures, like with the forms. But that also elevates our like security. We actually get like audited every year, and they have to like we in order to get our PCI compliance, we have to meet standards. So that's part of that. So yeah, you can rest assured everything is all safe and secure in there. And that's one of the things that's great. You don't have to worry about that, which is at the end of the day probably one of the best things.
Well, Stephanie, that is all the time that we have today. I want to pass along all the compliments you're getting. People are saying you've done a fantastic job. Thank you
Oh,
so much for sharing all this helpful information. And I hope that everyone who is in attendance today, we will see you again. Stephanie, when is that next webinar with you
the
all?
next one would be, let's see, where did we put it? I think it was November 7th. I can look on my
November
calendar. So I
7th. So
will be
again, the
there.
registration is already out there. So hopefully everyone has learned a bunch of stuff about Travefy. And Stephanie, just thank you so much for your time this afternoon and sharing everything that Travefy has to offer.
Yes, thank you so much. And we'll see you again November 7th.
Yes, ma'am. All right, everybody have a great day.